Day 7 of Heel.Sit's Train Your Dog Month series, and we are building on our stays that we started yesterday. This is an old video of Sazz from over summer. We are out in the driveway doing some stay work. We are adding some duration and distraction and distance. So she's in her sit stay, I'm moving my feet around, coming back to reward her. Since we've reached a point where we're working on duration, I'm going to hand the treat right to her, or I'm going to put it down in front of her to kind of encourage her to stay in this spot. We are not tossing treats at this point unless we are releasing, and I probably will start using that release word at this stage. Now, the distraction is all around us, right? We're outside, we're out in the environment, there's noises and smells and all kinds of stuff for her to be concerned about. And I'm just adding these little shuffles, coming back and rewarding, taking some steps, coming back and rewarding. You want to build this up slowly, and you're going to watch your dog carefully to know how far you can go. If I take a step to the side and she breaks, then I'm going to consider that my step was probably too big, or I left her sitting there too long and I need to reward faster and move less. She comes right back to work, which tells me she's still in it. If she was getting hesitant to come back, I would take that as either she's tired of this game or maybe the environment is too much and we might need an easier environment. But she comes right back to work, and you can see here I can add quite a bit of steps. I'm going to come right back and reward. Now, you don't want things to always be getting harder. You have to kind of yo-yo them back and forth a little bit. So sometimes you want it to be pretty easy, and then sometimes you're going to make it a little bit more difficult. But we really don't want our dogs thinking that they're just going to always have to be sitting longer and longer, or that you're going further and further away, because that can be a bit discouraging. Try to wait until your dog is looking at you before you move so you don't catch them off guard. It will really help them be able to hold their position. Here I'm making things just a little bit harder by moving next to her and trying to step around behind her, putting it in her head that she doesn't have to be staring right at me and I don't have to be staring right at her for her to be able to stay still. This really helps build up to me being able to turn my back to her and walk away from her, but also so that I can slip behind her, which is something that we need for rally obedience. I have to be able to walk behind her. This is something that I'm just doing incrementally. I'm making sure I reward her a lot along the way so she understands she's still doing the right thing by staying down. If she were to break, like she does right here, I'm not going to get upset. I'm just going to reset her and try again and realize that that's kind of where her threshold was. Now, it could have been my movement. It could have been the fact that she couldn't see me, or I maybe just left her laying there for too long and it was just too much for her. All of those things are a factor, and I'm going to keep that in mind as I go forward. With young dogs, you really don't want them to have to stay still for too long when it's not necessary, because it's just hard and it gets boring, and we don't want this to turn into a struggle. Here, I'm waiting for her to come back and reset. Sazz gets a little frustrated sometimes and starts looking for things to herd. So I really need her to come back and opt in before we continue. And again, I'm just going to make it easier by rewarding her a little bit faster, by releasing her more often. I am going to start using that release word. You can just say free and toss the treat. We use a few different release words for different reasons, but I'll talk about that in a different video.